So today I'm gonna start a brand new series on how to ride a motorcycle. Now, I started a series like 2 years ago, and one of those videos has done really well. But the idea here is I'm gonna start over brand new. Now, I'm not gonna start from the very beginning because in those earlier videos, I showed you how to start the bike and some of those things. But today, I'm just gonna talk about the basics to get you riding today. Now, you're not gonna be an experienced or even a great rider, not even a good rider probably after watching this video, but this will help to get you started, help to boost your confidence, and hopefully get you started the right way. So we're gonna talk about a series of things here, and then I'm gonna show you an exercise that hopefully you can use in a parking lot, just like what we have here, to build your confidence and do some pretty cool stuff. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is an important relationship, and that's between you and the clutch. Let's get this Harley started up. Let me put my helmet on and let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so before I start up the bike, let's talk about the clutch, because this relationship right here, second to your wife or your girlfriend or your dog, this is the most important relationship you have right here. This is crucial to you going, it's crucial to U-turns, it's crucial in this operation. Once you learn this, a lot of this stuff, man, is pretty dang easy, okay? But this right here, if you know how to drive a manual, great. If you don't, that's fine. I learned on a motorcycle and transferred that to a vehicle. I sucked in a vehicle, I got it on a motorcycle, so I did it kind of the other way around. Regardless, what we want to do here is essentially let the clutch out enough to where the bike starts to pull, and then we start to give it a little bit of gas. But before we get there, one thing I do have to show you is the gearing. So essentially what we have here is this one. It may look different from your bike, it may not, but they all generally have a shifter here, okay? So essentially how this works is all the way down is first gear, a half of a click up is neutral, and then full click, full click, full click, full click, depending on how many gears you have. This one has 6. All the way back down, that's going to put you back into first gear. Half of a click up will put you into neutral. Full click up will put you into second gear. This one works a little bit different. You know, I don't want to confuse you if your bike doesn't have this, but regardless, all the way down is first, all the way up is 6th gear. In this video, I'm just going to be taking you in first gear. We're not even going to go to second gear at this point. It's kind of a really fine-tuned relationship between the clutch and the gas, and you don't want to let it out too much. This is what's going to happen if you let it out too much. Okay? It's just going to stall out on you. You're not going to go anywhere. It's going to be kind of embarrassing. It happens, but try not to do that. So this is what you really want to do and really want to focus on in a parking lot, nobody around. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it into neutral. You can start it by pulling in the clutch as well, but just put it into neutral. We'll start it up. Now we're going to pull in the clutch. The clutch, pulling in the clutch essentially allows the motor to be still, right? It's not going to move. The bike isn't going to move. As long as you have the clutch pulled in, I could be in 6th gear, nothing is going to happen. But what we want to do here is we don't want to start moving yet. Pull in the clutch, go to first gear. Now we can actually start moving. So we're going to start in first gear, obviously. From here, the idea is you don't even have to get your feet up off of the ground, not yet. So what you want to do with the clutch is you want to start to let it out slowly. You're going to feel it start to pull a little bit, okay? You feel that pull right there, or can you see that pull? If you're on your own bike, you can do it, you can, you know, even do it with me. But you're going to feel the bike start to pull. That's the moment where you give it a little bit of gas. But just for right now, we're going to let the clutch out, and you're just going to kind of rock it back and forth. Boom. When it starts to, you can kind of back it up with your feet. When it starts to let out, back it up with your feet again and just kind of rock it back and forth. That's the friction zone, and that's where you want to be when you're doing U-turns. That's where you want to be in stop and go traffic. That's where you want to be before you even start going, before you hit the gas, essentially, is where you want to be. Now, what you can do from here is you can kind of duck walk the bike. All right, so you're going to be moving a little bit, and this is just going to give you a feel of how this feels. Right? So you can just easily let it out, and then if you get uncomfortable or whatever, pull it back in and slightly hit the brake. Don't do what I just did. Slightly hit the brake. Everything is really smooth operation on a motorcycle. None of it is, you know, until you get like really advanced, nothing is like, you know, too quick or jerky. The idea is to be smooth. So once you get the hang of that, it's a great practicing thing. So you know where the friction zone is on the bike. These Harleys, the stock hydraulic clutches, they engage way further out than this. That's why I put these adjustable ones on here. So once you got that down, let's talk about how you're gonna go and how you're going to stop. Okay, so before we start to go and introduce the gas to this, I want to show you how to brake, because once you start going, you need to learn how to stop as well. So I'm gonna start it up here. And so what we're gonna do here is, you have a couple different ways you can do this. Obviously, there's not a lot of travel here. So if you just pull this in like that, you're gonna jerk the brakes each and every time. Again, we wanna be smooth. So 2 fingers on the brake, pull it in nice and smooth. So let me show you, let me demonstrate what this looks like. So essentially you're gonna be going, or you're in the friction zone, you're gonna pull in the clutch and ease on the brake. So you're going, pull in the clutch, ease on the brake. You're going, ease in the clutch, pull on the brake. Easily pull on the brake. Go, pull in clutch, ease on the brake. Very smooth, deliberate, and easy. Now, once we actually get going, you have your rear brake as well. You want to use both in unison. So this is your rear brake, and you want to be equally as smooth on this. Now, I can't really show you right here until you really start going, but you basically move, pull in the clutch, front brake, and rear brake, and you're just going to easily put some pressure on this. So you have this relationship between clutch, gas, front brake, rear brake. All of these actions, you have to do it smooth. And that's why you start out here as opposed to the street. Now you have to get to your parking lot somehow, so you're gonna be on the street a little bit, and there's things you're going to learn on the street, but you wanna keep it as controlled as possible. So again, you start going, pull in the clutch, easily pull on the brake, and also you can hit the rear brake, but that's only when you start actually moving. This rear brake is also going to be crucial when you start doing U-turns, because you can help slow down and control the bike a little bit better. So now that we know all of that stuff, we're going to keep the handlebars straight. We're not going to turn them at all. We're going to keep them straight. We're going to start up the bike. We're going to introduce a little bit of gas. So from here to here is full throttle. You obviously don't want to do that just starting out. You want to introduce enough gas where the bike isn't going to shut off, right? Once you get it moving, you get your RPMs up to about, let's just say 1,500 to 2,000, 2,500, somewhere in there. So this is what this looks like. All right, so we're in first gear. I'm going to let out the clutch, and I'm going to introduce a little bit of gas. Now what you don't want to do, see how I'm actually revving it up just a little bit? So that way the motor doesn't just die. I'm already giving it enough gas to sustain power once I let go of the clutch. So I'm going to let out the clutch slowly, but before that I'm going to get up to 1,500 RPMs and go. So you got going, you're in a nice wide open parking lot, you hit the gas, then we want to get to the braking. Now what I'm going to show you from here, you're not going to be super comfortable with U-turns starting out. So if you have a big wide open parking lot like this, take the widest U-turn you can. Keep the bike completely straight up. That's not the correct way to do it, obviously, but once you start to learn that stuff, then you can start moving to tighter U-turns and being able to control the bike. But for right now, we're gonna go, we're gonna ease off the clutch, a little bit of gas, and then once we come to a stop, ease on the front brake and the rear brake. Put your left foot down first because your right foot is still on the rear brake. You'll notice that that helps to keep the bike even stable while you're coming to a stop. And once you practice those things, you can then really start to get a hold of the concept and really start to build your confidence while doing it. Okay, so when you're going along here, once you're going, you want to come to a stop, clutch in, front brake, rear brake, handlebar straight, left foot down. Boom. And that's it, as easy as I can make it. Now, of course, you're going to let off of the gas. And one thing you want to keep in mind as well. So let's go over that again. So clutch in, off the gas, front brake, rear brake, handlebar straight, left foot down. Now, if you get to a part like right here in this parking lot, I have a wide open space. If yours isn't as wide open as this, one thing you can do is let out in the clutch, stay in the friction zone. Don't go out of the friction zone. You're gonna kind of feel like sometimes you want to give it a little bit more, sometimes not. That's for further down the line. But essentially stay in the friction zone and you can just walk the bike around, just like what you see me doing right here. No shame in doing this when you when you first get started and you're not comfortable with U-turns or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna do this one more time. This is something you can practice. Hopefully this kind of gets stuck in your head the way I came up with this. Let me show you one more time what this looks like. So clutch in, front brake, rear brake, handlebar straight, left foot down. And that is how it's done. All right, so once you get those things down, you can practice that for as long as you want. And this is a judgment-free zone. It's relatively risk-free. There's a few cars here and there, but not many at all. So once you start to get this, it's really gonna help build your confidence. In part 2, I'm gonna talk about some more things to help you get started on the road the right way and to help you get on the road quicker, safer, and all of that good stuff. Learning how to ride with me, Heggshot. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, hold the rubber side down.